How do you get what you want? Offering big bonuses, giving orders, or threatening punishment is one way, what's known as hard power. Other times, soft power strategies can achieve the same end, but by means of persuasion and magnetism. IESE Professor Brian Leggett explains how both types are needed in management.
Every executive needs power to get his job done. Soft power is getting the free cooperation of your employees, whereas hard power, on the other hand, is to do with hiring and firing, it's to do with payment, it's to do with bonuses, reward systems, and even punishments like firing. It's absolutely necessary, like there's the intrinsic motivation that is generated through soft power, to the extrinsic motivation that's generated through the hard power. And so both are needed to run a business. And you need policies of hiring and firing, of payments and rewards, just as much as you need persuasion and the use of your personal magnetism. Persuasion basically has four components: emotional intelligence and vision, rhetoric, and nonverbal communication. In emotional intelligence, we are talking about self-awareness and the awareness of others. In self-awareness, we need to be able to understand why we feel and act the way we do. It's to do with self-management. The other aspect is more to do with the management of other people. And we need to know why people think and feel the way they do. And if we know this, we know how to motivate them. The second part is vision. It can be just a plan, a strategy to fulfill an objective, but we must have this very, very clear in our heads. But having a vision is useless without being able to communicate it. So therefore, we need rhetoric. And the stand we take on rhetoric usually is the classical rhetorical triad of building your credibility, building a credibility based on personal credibility and professional credibility. The Greeks call this ethos. And the second one was building the right emotional environment in which you communicated your message. And if it's a very stern message, the environment has to be very stern, obviously. If it's a sad message, obviously it has to be a sad environment. But you need to know how to build that environment. Nonverbal communication is interesting, because if you look at persons like Steve Jobs of Apple, what do you see? You see him coming out with a black t-shirt, jeans, short hair, a stubble here 1 or 2 days, glasses that fit in with his image. Now, this guy is a marvelous communicator, but he's not a very good speaker. Now, the same can be said for Gandhi. Gandhi was a marvelous communicator, and he's remembered today as one of the most charismatic leaders of the last century. But when you listen to his speeches, they weren't that good. The difference was the non-verbal communication. Personal magnetism, what I mean here, is charisma, your personal charisma. It's got to do with your belief in some policy or plan in which you're trying to implement, this vision. Ronald Reagan was very, very good at this. Ronald Reagan was able to communicate this vision to people, whether you agree with him or not. A businessman in his own way needs to be able to do it. You can justly turn around and say, but what about introverts? Do they have a place here? And I would say yes. And I would draw the attention to Darwin Smith of Kimberly-Clark, one of the biggest companies in the United States. Now, this man took over a company that was on its last legs. He built it up to one of the strongest companies in the United States. How did he do it? He wasn't a great speaker. He didn't have any personal charismatic qualities. He did it because he had this personal magnetism in a one-to-one relationship. He encouraged his managers to go out and find new products, but he didn't do it speaking at large shareholder meetings. He didn't do it at board meetings. He did it on a one-to-one basis. And that is the essence of personal magnetism.